Hey there, boys, girls, and flying squirrels. My name's Joe Keyport, and you're listening to the Ear Coffee Podcast. This week, I talked to Bailey Kogan of 26 Bats. Bailey and company have made a name for themselves by creating an amalgam of jazz, R&B, and alt-rock that is on full display with their new single, National Anthem. We talk about the band's new track, their forthcoming EP, and Bailey is even kind enough to talk about their upcoming record. It's 26 Bats on the Ear Coffee Podcast. Cool. Well, Bailey, welcome to the Ear Coffee Podcast. You're someone who definitely we wanted to get on for a while. We've just been waiting for the perfect time to speak with you. So how are you doing on this Saturday morning?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm drinking coffee.
Just got done with mine.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really gone outside yet, so.
Okay. It's beautiful. It was just on the deck at our house, at Ear Coffee HQ here.
Sweet.
Yeah. I do have to say, your response to the confirmation of the podcast was one of our favorites. Was just the I don't have anything going on, so whenever works. It was just one of the best ways we've ever gotten that response.
I mean, it's just the truth.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. So let's start at the beginning a little bit. I know you've probably talked about this other places, and I've definitely read and heard interviews where you talk about this. But tell me how you started making music. Because were you making music before 26 Bats kind of became a project?
Yeah, so I got music theory knowledge from that, but I didn't really like my piano teacher. So I never practiced, so I wasn't good at it.
Gotcha.
I just learned theory that way, and I was in a lot of choir in school, from first grade to senior year. So I had that for theory knowledge, and I started writing songs when I was an angsty, sad teen to deal with the sadness and the weight of the whole world on my teenage shoulders. And then I did a little electronic project I called 26 and the Bats. For a little bit. I played at Fifth Element open mics and met a bunch of people in the hip hop scene through there, which was just kind of funny because they would book me and I'm not making hip hop, so it would just be a weird place. Yeah. But I guess I've never really fit into one category, so it was fine for what it was. But then I was playing with the other band I'm in, Lucid Vanguard. And I just asked everyone in that band if they wanted to help be in my band and help do that. So we did that for a good 4 years.
Okay.
4 or 5 years since 2015 of Halloween was our first gig.
Gotcha.
As 26 Bats, yeah.
So Lucid Vanguard, that's part of the Kremblums kind of collective.
Yeah.
Were you a part of that before 26? So then you were a part of the Kremblums before 26 Bats became a thing?
Yeah, it was it was first Lucid, and then we all kind of started just backing up each other's solo projects. But it was some obviously more collaborative than others.
For those not familiar, can you just tell me a little bit about Kremblums and what that is?
Yeah, Kremblums is a group of 5 people. 4 of us write songs, and for a while we were just in each other's bands, gigging around town. We did a few tours. So that was cool. We can't do that anymore, obviously. And we're all kind of zooming in on our own solo stuff. Because of just kind of burning out, 1, of playing gigs all the fucking time, and then 2, we literally can't play shows right now. And probably not for a very long time. Yeah. So it's it kind of I don't know, synchronicity happened, and here we are in a global pandemic.
Yeah.
Yay.
Just the end of the world.
It's great timing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So aside, since you were talking about solo projects, something you were doing with some members of Kremlins was Womb Song. You released a couple of songs last year, end of last year, I think, was when those came out. Are you then, since everybody's kind of, I mean, I assume 26 Bats you consider your kind of project, obviously. Are you working on Womb Song stuff as well then? Since you said everyone's kind of zooming in on their own solo stuff?
Yeah, so I'm not like currently working on it,
Okay.
but we have like at least 3 songs that are basically done. I live with Carl, the person that I collaborate with that project on, so we can work on that whenever we want, which is really sweet. So I think we're gonna release a song soon from that project, just because it's like kind of relevant to like nature healing and going back to the way it should be.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. So going back a little bit, I was wondering, so you talk about piano, and I think I was listening to the KFAI kind of feature they did on you. You mentioned starting jazz piano lessons at 19. I was wondering if there was a specific sound that kind of really caught your ear that made you want to make music, because obviously 26 Bats is incredibly diverse even within a song, and genre fluidity is something really big with 26 Bats. But I was wondering what really kind of drove you, or what was the sound that really pricked your interest initially when you started making music and working on stuff?
Well, the first band that made me want to be like a rock star was the Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
Okay.
And then I got really into hip hop in high school. So that kind of I got really into idea and abilities, and they're from Minneapolis or St. Paul. And they have a lot of like weird jazz avant-garde like samples, so that kind of piqued my interest into the jazziness of the world, but not committing to jazz, just being jazzy.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of Erykah Badu, D'Angelo, basically all of the Soulquarians from that era. So that piqued my interest in like a lot of like my vocal inspiration comes from the Soulquarians, which is like D'Angelo, Erykah Badu, Questlove. I know they wouldn't want to be called that, but it's just easy for my brain to like loop them together, because they were kind of a collective for a little bit there. And then James Blake made me interested in making electronic music. Frank Ocean is probably my number one inspiration, though, just like lyrically and just artistically in general. So I take a lot from a lot of different places, and like Radiohead actually is huge for me. So I'm inspired by a lot of people that I would consider to be like hard to describe and peg into a genre. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
When then did you realize that you could make it work in the way that you do? Because sometimes you think of like trying to be diverse and very like switch between things and trying to bring all of that together. I've listened to records where it's definitely like been very, not chaotic, but it's very much like this isn't working as well as I feel like the artist expected them to. But for you, like, I mean, I was listening to Onyx earlier today, and I listened to some other stuff, and you're just like, it works, and you suddenly switching between styles and genres, and for some reason, my iTunes decided to throw in one of the new Another Heaven singles, and I was like, this is a weird take. Wait, this is not 26 Bats, but it worked altogether for some reason. I was wondering, when did you realize you could do that, and it worked in a way that it worked, you know?
I think the help of my band members really came through for that, because I just write these songs, and then like I would show them to my band and be like, okay, we got to figure out how to make this work. And they are all so talented that we would workshop them and make them into more fluid pieces, which is something I'm really thankful for. But I think some external inspirations for that is like I don't know. I grew up listening to a lot of Queen, which I think they do a lot of like jolty weird shit. And then I saw the band Hiatus Coyote. And they do it really, really fucking well. And I was like, okay, if these guys can do it, because I've always wanted to do it, up here, and it's just like a matter of how to execute it.
Yeah.
And so just seeing people do it before me kind of made me feel more comfortable expressing in that way.
Yeah.
Because they do it really fucking well.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then I was kind of, as we're digging through a little bit of the previous 26 Bats history and stuff before we get to the new stuff you'll be having, which will have probably come out by the time this episode gets to the podcast services. So you put out Cave Cuts in 2017, which was your debut record, which you describe as genre fluid between songs, and Onyx, the record you released last year, was one of the first, not one of the first, but like really genre fluidity inside songs. Talk to me about that shift, and was it as gradual as was it gradual, or was it almost as immediate between, like, honestly switching from Cave Cuts to Onyx, like say on Spotify? Were you after that record was out, did you feel you could switch into that, or kind of talk to me about that shift?
Yeah, I think with Cave Cuts we were a new band still, and I was playing a lot of songs that I wrote, when I was really young. Okay. And so with the new stuff, we were gigging so much that we kind of figured out what our sound was and what we wanted it to be. And so that's expressed pretty well in Onyx. But our next project, which is going to be just a 4-song EP or 5-song, Sweet Fang, that is very much so more of genre fluidity, which I'm really excited about. But that's kind of on the maximalist side of the spectrum of songwriting that I'm like currently on. And like, so the Sweet Fang EP is recorded and like just being mixed and like done. Right now I'm writing the next album.
Oh wow.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that is much more simple on the spectrum of like maximalist, minimalist. Yeah. So that's been really cool. So that's what I'm focusing on currently, because that's what I'm writing. But like we're releasing Sweet Fang soon, which is gonna be, I mean, it's not maximalist, like, but it is on my spectrum. That, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How is maximalist on your spectrum then? Because I was listening to National Anthem over the last couple of days, and that since you, like, a lot of your music is very full of lush horns and piano and drums, it's to me it's very full. And what do you mean by maximalist for you then?
It's the most jolty songs.
Okay.
It's the most like genre fluid I've been, I think. Okay. But National Anthem is kind of the exception to that rule. That's like the emo song on the project.
Gotcha. And before we get too ahead of ourselves, because I have some, I want to talk about obviously Sweet Fang and National Anthem. I wanted to ask a little bit more about Onyx, and then Magnified Iris, which was released as a kind of its own Lucy single, which feels like it almost meant to fit in with Onyx. Was that like a holdover, or what was, why or is it going to be up on this upcoming EP?
Yeah, that's on the EP.
Is it? Okay. So it's like, why did you decide to release that end of last year as opposed to waiting till you're closer to Sweet Fang's release schedule?
I don't operate on a schedule well at all. Gotcha. We made the music video for that song 2 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's been a thing, and I'm like, like, get it away. Yeah. Because
you just want to get it out.
Holding songs in for so long kind of just like makes a creative blockage within my body, and so it's hard to make new stuff without like releasing old stuff. So like I guess that's partially why it is a good holdover, because I just wanted to, you know, keep fans interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is very old, and a lot of these songs on the next EP are old to me.
Okay.
So I kind of just want to like get it out so I can focus on new shit.
So how long have you been sitting on these songs then? Because you said Cave Cuts you've been holding on to for a while. Do you have like a backlog of then music you're just trying to get out as quickly as possible, or?
I don't think I'm trying to get things out quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But because I have never done it in a fast way. I think sitting on things is something I am too good at.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to share, because it is like a lot of my heart and a lot of my vulnerability. And there's just the recording process when you're an indie artist is more, it just takes more time because you don't have as much money to be like, come on people, let's go.
Yeah. And especially when the music, the type of music you play, it's not something you can almost do as like a garagey. It's not, you're not throwing up a couple of mics and listening to some distorted guitars and someone screaming wildly. It almost demands to have more nuance within a recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's I would love, though, once Sweet Fang comes out, that is when I want to start doing it in a more smooth way, faster way. But I don't think you should ever rush yourself as an artist. So
do you since you like to sit on, you said you like to sit on things and you almost sit on things too well, is it because, do you sit on things as a way of like constantly like revising and editing and working on and adding to as well then, or?
Yeah, it's that, and it's just like knowing that each song can evolve from the initial place of like the genesis of writing it, and knowing that like, I don't know, something can be finished but not feel finished or whatever. And I'm starting to get more hands-on in the mixing process, because I'm really bad at communicating what I want the like final sound to be. I mean, I just think it's hard to communicate what you want sound to sound like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have the language for it, at least. So I'm getting more hands-on in that process, which is like turning out to be really fun and creative, and like, yeah, it's helpful. So.
Gotcha. Do you have like a similar, same person you go to when recording and mixing, or?
No, I collaborated with Medium Zach for Onyx, which was really fun to do, because he has an amazing studio called Woodgrain, which is just like basically a house studio, which I loved because it felt very homey and stuff. That was cool. Cave Cuts was recorded with Christian, our bass player, and mixed with him, and I think mastered with him. And Christian is working on, I think Christian mixed Magnified Iris, and is mixing another song off the EP, Beta Bet, and The Transition. And then Carl and I both helped mix National Anthem, but he did most of the work. And then I found a new person to have master, and I really like his work, Bruce. I don't remember his last name, but shout out Bruce.
Shout out Bruce. No, totally. So since you mentioned did you say you had the Magnified Iris music video for 2 years, you said, or was that just the song?
Yeah, no. The video came after the song, obviously. So the song was probably like from initial writing. It was probably 3 years old.
Okay.
But yeah, the video just took a long time to edit, because
I mean, it's a production.
We had a whole team. Yeah, it was That's a cool video because I've never had like a video with a whole team because like the people working on it had like MCAD ties, so we got access to like cool studios and equipment.
Nice.
So that was a whole thing. And like editing is a whole thing, you know.
Yeah. There's how much comes out of like the editing process. I mean, with anything, but even video, just trying to get that tone across. So talk to me about the concept of that music video. Was that something you had, or was that something you worked with? Because you worked with Michaela Shea Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
As they were the director. So is that something you both worked together to get out, or talk to me about that?
Yeah. So I worked with Michaela at the Walker. That's how we met. And she does video, so I was like, let's do something. I told her the meaning of the song for me, which is like kind of trying to release yourself of other people's energetic vampirisms or like demons, and like kind of just use your powers for good, even instead of like fixating on negativity of that doesn't even like relate to my fucking life. So I gave her that meaning and I gave her the lyrics, and she kind of was able to cook that up in a visual representation, which I'm really thankful for because I don't excel in like creative visuals, I guess, in the video sense. So that was fun to kind of just like tell her what it meant to me, and then give her like the song and kind of all like the directing creative power that she wanted to make it into. And we were, you know, collaborating that whole way, but I gave her a lot of freedom in that because yeah, it was fun it's fun to see what people make of your meanings, and yeah, I prefer to collaborate that way because, you know, a song can mean something to me that's really like vulnerable and I don't even want to talk about it or whatever, but then to you it could mean something completely different.
Yeah.
And I think that's tight. I love that.
Yeah, well, there's almost like a context of like once a person puts out a song, it's while it has a meaning to them, it's not theirs anymore, in a sense.
Yeah.
Even though you're obviously performing it every night or how like that. I have one question that I want to get to that I just kept reminding myself of, but I wanted to ask because there's a whole dance routine that Magnified Iris has in that video. Is that something that was all choreographed out in advance and a lot of pre-production that way, or how is kind of that stuff done?
No. So yeah, so the two dancers I was working with are mostly just like improv the whole time, except for there's one section where we kind of figured stuff out. So I'm mostly looking awkward and like I don't know what I'm doing, and they're just dancing around me, which is hilarious and wonderful in its own way. So yeah.
Gotcha. So it was all improv. It looked great. I mean, I didn't catch the whole. You didn't know what you were doing, but so
good. Great.
You know. But so you talked about how a lot, I mean, obviously you pour your heart into these songs. Do you find it hard at times to play certain songs live in front of people, especially when they have such a deep meaning that you said earlier, sometimes you just don't want to talk about?
I think like with National Anthem, that was a hard one to play in front of my parents at first.
Gotcha.
Just because it's like totally inspired by them and kind of like, I don't know, the stuff I've like ingrained in myself as a child of just like seeing them doing the same exact thing every day. And like, I love my parents, like they do their best. So it was like, it's hard to be like, say something so candid like mom's drunk and dad's watching TV. I think they're stuck doing the same thing over and over again. That sounds like really negative, and obviously it like kind of hurt my mom's feelings at first, but like she recently told me that like I need to release National Anthem ASAP because it's like perfect for what's going on in the world. So it's like, I don't know. It's kind of amazing, I think, because it's like it gives me the ability to express my truth in front of like my loved ones and like whoever else comes, you know, and people to like see me for what I'm really expressing and hopefully not taking it personally, but if they do, like we can talk about it then or like work through it then. And I think obviously music is like the most healing thing in the whole world for me. So that is something that is so necessary. Like being vulnerable and being scared to play things live and express my heart is like really cool because then I get to do it and like punch fear in the face and be like, yeah, what?
Yeah. So let's talk about National Anthem since you said it's kind of inspired by your parents. It's listening through the music you've put out. It's one of the like most overtly like political songs you've released since. I mean, "Guilty" on Cave Cuts obviously instantly comes to mind. Yeah. So talk to me just about that because you said you mentioned like apathetic people kind of getting stuck in a cycle. You talk about guns and oil, the environment, white people being dumb. Like you really hit, like you checked the boxes on that one. So tell me about writing that song and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I wrote that song when my mom was like passed out on the couch. And my dad was watching TV really loudly, and like our family room is like set up so the TV is like, you know, against the wall, and then the couch is like in front of the TV, and then the piano that I write on is like right behind the couch. So like when I'm trying to write a song, all I hear is like the TV like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I was just really in my feelings, and I mean, obviously it's easy to be frustrated about the state of the world. I think, you know, I was fucked up about Flint, Michigan not having water. I was fucked up about like, all of the black people that get get murdered by police and there's no justice served at all. I get mad about, you know, the environment, us just like keep using oil and knowing, you know, that the hypocrisy of knowing that it's not good for the environment. We only have so much time to fix it. It just like, it gets so heavy. And then seeing like a visual representation of that complicity in my parents and knowing that that is very common, you know, and seeing it within myself too. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can hear the white guilt in my in my voice. Yeah. But you can't just have white guilt. You have to do something with it. And so I was trying to process all of that through writing that song. And that's why there's so many points made, because it's just like, I mean, being white in a capitalist system of white supremacy, you're able to do so much more and live so much more comfortably. But like, also it makes you more subject to addiction. It makes you like, there's definite like fucking problems with being complicit in a system that hurts people, like no matter who you are. So I don't know, that song means a whole lot to me, and I just rambled, so I'm sorry if that didn't make a ton of linear sense, but
no, you're good.
Thanks.
You're good. Is this like would this be the second overtly politically charged song you've put out or will be putting out as 26 Bats? Or I just find it interesting just because like Guilty, thinking about that song as well, like it's just in between like listening to those songs, it catches you off guard in a way that you go, oh, I didn't expect this, and now I'm like thinking about it and stuff like that.
What was the question?
I don't think there was a question in there. I was just Sorry.
No, it's
Sorry.
okay.
I'm just thinking about like.
I think I know what you're asking though.
Yeah.
Let me just infer.
No, you're good.
Yeah. I think I've always written political music, but not necessarily release stuff.
Okay.
I write a lot of songs and I don't release a lot of them because I think some things are for me and I think some things deserve to be for other people. So that's really intentional for me. Because I get frustrated at the world all the time, you know what I'm saying? So in order to deal with my frustration and my guilt or my shame or like just emotional processing, I write songs. It's just like a healing thing I do. Like, so no matter like if I get to the process of recording and releasing, like I'll constantly be making music that's political because I'm a human being in America and actually just like planet Earth. And like the Earth is just not okay. And so I'm trying to find a way to feel okay in a not okay world. The reason I released Guilty is because I thought like, you know, it could offer others, you know, that type of like empowerment or support or whatever. And same with National Anthem. I've played it live a whole bunch and I've gotten a lot of feedback that it like really hit home for people. And that gives me the courage to like, okay, people fuck with this song. Like it like it moves people emotionally. I should actually do something with this and release it. Yeah, because it does take time. It takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You know?
Gotcha. Is there going to be more? Is National Anthem kind of like Guilty going to be one of those kind of standalone tracks when it comes to messages like that on Sweet Fang, which will be coming out soonish? Or is that EP going to have a little bit more of a kind of political undertone?
I think that is like definitely the most political song on the thing. The other songs are just mostly about like interpersonal, emotional stuff. So yeah. The album that I'm writing, Armored Hearts, that is like I was joking yesterday. It's just like horny anarchist music. So that's my new brand.
You know, it's a pretty strong brand currently.
Yeah, like it's just like horny for love and like anarchy. So, but that's just a good like expression of what's going on within. So,
gotcha. So that's the Armored Hearts is the one you're working on. So what is the interpersonal stuff that we'll be hearing about on Sweet Fang?
So Magnified Iris is on there. That's all about just like trying to move the fuck on from like someone else's mess. And then another song is Beta Bet, which is like similar, I guess, meaning, but basically making sure you don't fall into other people's spirals. And it's about a variety of things. It's about imagery of memories that I have. It's about not being able to fucking make up my mind, and it's about like wiping off your emotions and just being a fresh human being.
Yeah.
And then there's National Anthem, which is like about my childhood and the whole fucking world. So
yeah. Okay. So how long have you been sitting on these tracks then? Because you mentioned you're as someone who's constantly writing. Some of it's for you, some of it's you want to put to the world. Is there a litmus test you use to decide which ones you want to keep for you and which ones you want to share with the world?
Yeah, I mean it's simple. It's simple as like if I remember it, if I play it a lot. If I play it a lot, that means it does a lot for me.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah,
because like I like playing it and it feels good to play. So then I'll move it to the next level with these songs on Sweet Fang. We've been playing them live for a very long time. One of the songs I actually decided to cut because I don't think it's very strong, which might come out as a collaboration with Tony the Scribe at a later date, hopefully,
Okay.
honestly, because we did a version of that with him rapping on it, and I think that makes it way stronger than it would be just alone. So, you know, yeah, it's if they stick around in the brainscape, and sometimes it'll take me a long time to realize that it's a good song and that I should actually do something with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. So do you have a release date for Sweet Fang?
I don't.
You don't? Okay.
I'm waiting for the last song to be mixed, and then we'll be able to ship that out and give it to the world.
Gotcha. Well, we're coming to the end here of all of kind of my questions I have. So this is a very hard question to ask, not because it's deep, it's just what does the rest of 2020 look like for you as an artist? Because usually it's like that's when we can plug I got this tour coming up, this show is happening, but right now it's just like, I don't know. You got any like live streams planned or stuff like that to kind of in the interim?
Actually, I do. Let me pull it up because I really don't remember anything these days. Like my memory's bad as it is, but like,
yeah,
without having a solid schedule, it's hilarious.
If I don't write it down, I forget it.
Mostly, you guys can look forward to some flamin' hot records. Because that's something I've just been having a lot of joy in doing, making. But I'm doing a virtual session with The Current. Date TBD. It's May 15th through 17th is this prospective dates. Okay. They haven't told me which one, but we're doing it. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And then finally, where can people find you?
We're on the interwebs, at 26bats, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, all streaming services. Bandcamp is just 26bats.bandcamp.com, and there's t-shirts on there as well as downloads.
Ooh. Cool. Well, Bailey, thank you so much for spending some time with me on this Saturday afternoon.
Thank you, Joe.
The Ear Coffee Podcast is a companion to the blog of the same name. If you like this episode, please leave us a rate and review so we can stand out among the other music podcasts. You can follow us at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram @Ear Coffee. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.